Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Now you guys know me as April Whitney, certified personal trainer and certified nutritionist, and I make a lot of videos for petite women specifically looking to tone up, build some muscle, get strong, and also lose fat and get lean at the same time. But I also am a former elite athlete in the sport of fencing. I did 18 years in the sport, well over 10,000 hours. I've worked with multiple sports psychologists. I've gone through the gamut. So I know a thing or two about building habits and sustainability to be able to do something in the long run. And I know that it's one of the hardest things for people to work on. It's still hard for me as well. So if you followed my mini cut series, you know that I did a mini cut this summer, which backfired like really bad. And then all through August and September, I just wanted to take a breather. So I've recently had to revisit some of these myself, so they're fresh. And I also implemented some like really beginner things. I went back to kindergarten for building habits, and you have to do that sometimes. Even if you have over 10,000 hours of practice in something, you gotta keep the beginner's mindset. Sometimes you gotta go back to basics. So if you struggle with following your nutrition you wanna follow, or going to the gym regularly, or just drinking enough water, or you just lack routine and you're trying to implement routine consistently, this video will be a really helpful video. I'm also going to provide some resources, reading materials at the end as well. So sit back and give it a like and subscribe for more content in the health and fitness space for petite women. All right, without further ado, let's jump into it. Now, when I look at the overall 5 tips that I'm going to give you today, the biggest theme I would say is that you want to create systems and routines so that you can eliminate choice. Eliminating choice is a very good thing, because if you wake up every morning and you could do anything, you go to the gym and you could do anything, it's too many choices. Humans don't actually do very well with choice. So creating routines and systems gives you something to fall back on. It gives you an automatic behavior eventually after you've practiced it a lot that serves you, so you can free up some mental energy for the things that you really want to spend it on and be intentional with your energy. And this is honestly what creating a habit feels like. It's like you've intentionally in the upfront put in some work to build a system, then you have to practice the system, and then the system becomes automatic and it's easy and you don't have to think about it. So it's hard in the upfront and then it gets easier and easier. So keep in mind when you're looking at your day and your routines, what systems do you have currently that you want to change? And I'm going to start with my tip number 1, which is you don't have to have a system for everything, but have a system for your morning, like how you set the day. So I'm gonna go through my morning routine and show you how I created a system and a routine around my morning that sets me up for the rest of the day to have success and predictability. And if you're someone who needs flexibility, you can have different options and you can add layers of complexity, but just start with something simple. A question that you could ask yourself is, how do I feel, or when do I feel most connected to myself? Because if you have an activity that connects you to yourself really well, it's a really good idea to start your morning off with that, so that you don't keep putting it off until the end of the day, and then at the end of the day, you probably won't do it. And if you can connect with yourself early on in the day, it helps build confidence, it helps connect to your why, it helps set yourself up for success, it helps you feel good, it helps you feel like you're thriving, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I love writing. So it might be different for you. You might like to read, you might like to meditate, you might like to go on a walk, but for me, it's writing. So what I do in the morning, I sit down and I do my gratitude journaling. By the way, I'm not always successful at this. I try not to like look at my phone. I do not open my computer. Do not open my computer. This first 15 minutes has gotta just be my morning routine. So sit down, computer is closed. I bring out my gratitude journal. It's called the 5-minute journal. If you're looking for an awesome journal, it's fantastic. It's really easy, 5 minutes. You just journal about 3 things you're grateful for, what would make the day great, and write down an affirmation for yourself. And sometimes that's all I need in the morning, and sometimes I need a little more. So if I need a little more, after that, I will either meditate in the Headspace app, just like 3 to 5 minutes, does not have to be a marathon, or I will journal. This is something I try to do at least 5 days a week, just 5 minutes. Take the pressure off. Your morning routine does not need to be 20 minutes of like doing all the things, you know, it can be really fast. Like it can be jot down some things you're grateful for, write in your journal. And once I started developing my daily writing habit, I started to kind of run out of things to write about. So what then I started doing was just pulling cards. Now I'm not woo-woo at all, but I had this old tarot card deck in my game cabinet from when I was a kid, and a lot of my friends are into this stuff, so I just started pulling a card once a day. I just literally shuffle the deck. I ask like, what message do I need to receive this week? I pull a card, and then it just gives me a prompt. It really just gives me something to think about so that I can write. So if you have trouble thinking about things, get creative like that. Don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. That's what helped me get into a creative mindset and reflect. After I've had my matcha and whatnot, I usually try to go to the gym. I'm a morning gym person, but if you like to go in the evening, that's fine. Again, this is about you and what works for you. What we want to create here is a string of behaviors, a string of actions that you do in the same sequence every morning to help just create some routine and stability from which you start your day. So then I'll go to the gym. So that's my morning routine. It's easy, it's quick, and it grounds me, and it makes me feel like there's some predictability, and it helps build your self-efficacy, which is like a fancy word for confidence in yourself, that you have follow through, that you do the things you say you're gonna do, that you keep the promises to yourself. So that's my number one tip. Is the first system, the easiest one to work on, is your morning routine. So get quiet and figure out what you need in the morning to connect with yourself, and start practicing it, and make it really easy at first. Okay, this next tip I have is a game changer. So a few weeks ago, I'd have one day where I'd hit my macros, it'd be like a perfect day, right? And then the next day, I wouldn't have a perfect day. I would not want to go to the gym, or I'd skip the gym, or I'd not follow my macros. You know, I'd end up being like, whatever, I'm not doing this today. And so it was like every other day I was consistent, and at the end of the week, I didn't feel good. So I sat down and I was like, what do I need to make this happen, to get a string of days where I do the things I say I want to do? And what I decided to try, and let me tell you, it was so successful. I'm still using it now. I started with like a big pad of paper, and I just drew a calendar. And I set a goal. I had my housewarming in my loft here a few weeks ago, and this was 2 weeks prior to my housewarming. I said, I want to have 2 weeks of consistent good habits and routines prior to my housewarming. So my housewarming was the payoff and the reward, because I was gonna feel good that night, you know, hosting and just with my friends. And I wrote down my goals each day. Literally get out your pen and paper. You can do this digitally, but I really found that having it physically written and located in a place where I could see every morning was the game changer, because putting it in an electronic calendar, it kind of can hide. So the next step was I wrote out my 3 non-negotiables. My 3 non-negotiables every day were my water intake, getting whatever movement in that I had planned for that day, and then hitting my macros for whatever I was doing that day. I do carb cycling, so I have right now a low, moderate, and high day, and they, depending on what I'm training that day, I change them. If you want to put in sleep, you can. Just don't have more than 3. Have 3, just 3, no more than 3 non-negotiables. The thing I did, and you don't have to do this, but I wanted to do it for me, was I wrote down my metrics every morning in the space below. So I wrote down my weight and my measurements, which I would then use to see progress over time. And sometimes you don't see any change here. It depends on your goal. My goal before my housewarming was to build consistency. The reason why this worked is it used a framework or a psychology of streaks. And what would happen was, if I got my first day, I did my day really well, I got to check it off. That's satisfaction in itself. I got to cross it off and say, I did all the things I wanted to do this day. And the next day, I would see that day crossed off, and it would make me feel like I already had one good day. I want to have a 2-day streak. The streak method is what is this, like, the power juice behind this calendar for me, because if I got through 3 days of consistency, that like force for me to keep going was really strong. I've already put 3 full days of effort in. Let's keep this going. There was motivation, I was seeing results, it was working. And so for me to physically see how I was doing, it kept me going. I wanted to have a 2-week streak before my housewarming. The other reason why it works is you're tracking. and you need to be tracking progression in order to have awareness of how you're doing and make adjustments as you go. So it's like the streak, but also I was writing down every day how I was doing, I was reflecting on it, I was engaging in my goals. So I highly encourage that you use the streak method, go back to kindergarten, create a physical calendar, write down your 3 non-negotiables, and work on just getting a couple days streak and building up that self-efficacy. Tip number 3 is to prepare ahead of time. This is so important. This is what I do. Every Sunday, I do my meal planning. I literally go into my macros app and I plan out all my meals for the week. It's pretty easy because I do like to eat pretty similar foods throughout the week. And then I just go grocery shopping and I prep whatever I can, like veggies, whatever, proteins. And I just do this every Sunday so that I eliminate the choices the rest of the week and I can focus on the things that matter, which would be you guys, like creating content for you, taking care of my clients, working on the business, working with my employee, doing the things that I need to really put my mental and emotional energy into, and eliminate the things like eating healthy and, you know, make it easy, make it as easy as possible. So plan ahead. I cannot recommend this enough. It doesn't take a long time after you get the hang of it. Just make a general plan or a specific plan every Sunday for your nutrition. Okay, tip number 4 is about breaking an unhealthy habit, which I found I needed to unlearn some things in order to then build a healthier habit to replace it. So you guys know, if you've watched my channel, I used to struggle with binge eating, undiagnosed. I just would eat a lot of food, just like sitting in front of the TV or whatever. It's much better now. I haven't struggled with it to that extent since I started my health and fitness journey. However, it's very easy for me to get back into that if I am not paying attention. So I noticed some of that behavior creeping back in the last month. And what helped me break this unhealthy habit for myself was using a visualization technique. So what I would do if I went and grabbed a bag of something and I wanted to eat it out of the bag is I just literally visualized myself engaging in that behavior all the way. Before I touch the bag, I'd be like, okay, what would it actually feel like to take this bag and sit in front of the TV and consume it? And how would I feel after? And how would I feel going to bed? And then the next morning, how would my stomach feel? How would I, energy-wise? And I would run through the visualization loop more than once, like 2 or 3 times, get that feeling of discomfort. And that created enough distance and awareness for me to say, I don't want to do this. Let me be not lazy and cook myself a real meal right now, right? Like there's salmon in the fridge, there's food in the fridge, girl, there always is. Let me just like not be lazy and really cook something that's gonna make me feel good. So visualization can be powerful, especially if you need to like take a pause, really think something through, like imagine yourself engaging in this unhealthy behavior all the way through to the full consequences the next day, whenever you feel the discomfort or like the regret about it. And make a different decision. Make the choice that is gonna make you feel good. Make the choice that you wanted to make, like they're sticking to the original plan. So visualization is a super important, great tool for building healthy habits, and you can use it to reinforce healthy ones too. You can imagine and visualize yourself living this healthy life, doing the things that you wanna do, and that can also help build the healthy routines as well. Okay, my 5th tip is to be imperfect. The streak method only works if you allow yourself to do it imperfectly. And what I mean by that is because it can be confusing. It can be like, well, how do I get the streak if I'm not being perfect? When you make a mistake, say I did slip up and I overate on a snack and now I'm not hungry for dinner, or I don't feel good. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, I suck, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm giving up, I'm like, F it, I'm gonna eat everything in the kitchen. Instead of saying that, use the but method and say, I didn't do what I wanted to do, but I'm working on this, and if I keep working on it, I'm going to get better at it. So interrupt your negative thoughts with the word but, and tell yourself that you're working on it and you're getting better at it, and it's going to get easier. Allowing yourself to be imperfect can help break some of the thought patterns and behaviors that you've had your whole life. They can really, really, really help you get into a new, more consistent space. And imperfection is the only way to get to a goal, because you will never get there. You'll never have perfect streaks. You need to allow yourself to make some mistakes, but still say, good enough. I did like the bare minimum today, and I'm happy about that, so that you don't self-sabotage further down the road. So let yourself do what you can. If you can't get your full workout in, do half of it and cross it off for the day and say, I did it. That is so important, okay? So it's not about perfection, it's actually about imperfection, embracing that and allowing your self-talk to be good, noticing your self-talk and reframing and rewording things, because we want you, the goal is to keep going. That's what a habit is. You do it every day, you keep going. If you let yourself stop because your negative self-talk said you didn't do good enough, you'll never build a healthy habit. So you really use the but method. Whenever you find yourself saying something shitty about yourself, just say, but I am working on it, I'm getting better, I will be better if I work on it more, if I keep going. So use that method. Make sure you allow room for imperfection, because none of us are perfect. I'm not. There's so much imperfection that happens towards progress, and you need it to get to your goal. Okay, I do have some reading material. If you like this kind of topic and you're trying to read more about it, I highly recommend Atomic Habits by James Clear. I've read it several times now. It's immaculate. You should read it. Another great one is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. This one is about self-imposed ceilings we put on ourselves that we think we can't break through, and how to get to the next level. And the third one is the 5-minute journal, which is the gratitude journal that I talked about in my morning routine. So those are some good resources if you want to dig deeper, and you can shop them in my Amazon link below. I would love to hear from you guys. Which tip was your favorite? What has worked for you in building healthy habits and routines? In the comments below, let me know. And if you got any value out of this video, please give it a like. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. I would so appreciate it if you subscribe and share this channel with your friends, your petite friends, anyone who's interested in health and fitness. And we're almost there. I cannot wait to celebrate that milestone with you guys. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye.